Hi fellas, I'm here from Now Spinning magazine, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing A View from the Top of the World by Dream Theater. I've been into this band since a Friday night in the early 90s when Tommy Vance played a track, Pull Me Under, from the album Images and Words. I just thought it was fantastic music, and I didn't realise that progressive metal, there were quite a few other bands behind the scenes, like Threshold and stuff, that got lost in the 90s, and Dream Theater got all the attention. Bands like Fate's Warning and all this seemed to be, I didn't discover them till a long time afterwards. But Dream Theater, whichever way you look at them, are at the top of the mountain and the kings of progressive metal in many, many ways. And over the years, I've bought everything that they've done, and sometimes it's been a blur into one album from the next. Sometimes I've played them endlessly, and sometimes I've played them just a couple of times. Sometimes the live albums have been really interesting, sometimes they haven't, but I've stuck with them, and that's the key thing. So what do I think about this? I'm going to show you why have I gone through the vinyl version. I've gone for the vinyl version. This is a good point for you record labels watching this. I went for this because it came with the CD. Inside Out Records do this a lot, and so quite a few other people do as well. But if I see that the vinyl version comes with the CD and it's reasonably priced, I jump with that. If it doesn't, I usually go with the CD. But so I've gone with this, and I'm going to go through the package so you can have a look, because this comes with a lovely little book as well. So I've played this quite a few times, and I made some notes because as with Dream Theater, it's quite complicated. So the first track is called The Alien, which is 9.5 minutes long. Good length for a Dream Theater track, isn't it? And it opens with typical Dream Theater style, maximum riffage, and blended in with melodic moments, and which seem to come out of nowhere. It's like a cloudy sky. There'll be like this massive, full-on like tom-toms going around as the chords change, and then it'll stop, and this melodious element will just come in. This track has all of those elements that you'd expect it to have. So that kind of stop-start drum riffs stuff, which they do a lot of in this album. But the music seems to have a more melodic edge. The intensity, the heaviness is still there. But I feel that the Andy Sneap's mixing, him who is helping out Judas Priest currently, that guy really knows how to produce rock music, heavy metal music. And there have been times on Dream Theater albums where there's so much stuff going on. It's so busy that it could become tiring for your ears, if you know what I mean. But on this, it's still busy, but there's space around the instruments and the music. So it's a great, great opener. Next is a short track, 7.5 minutes, which is Answering the Call. This has a wonderful emotive riff, and it's kind of melody that Dream Theater do. It's kind of always feels like when you're running up the side of a mountain. You just got to the top, and this beautiful view appears in front of you as the vocals soar over the top. It's one of those type tracks which they seem to do effortlessly. And we get some fantastic, great heavy guitar riffs, but the playing by Jordan Rudess on this is just beautiful. It really, really is. There's also one of 3 tracks which kind of drop down into this really cool drum and bass groove and keyboards. There's 3 tracks that do it, and this is the first one. And it really is something that you can imagine live. They'll just let it just drift as they move the solos in and out. It's got some really, really great stuff on it. Invisible Monster is 6.5 minutes long. That's track 3. This starts with a quiet guitar intro, and then we get some mid-paced guitar riffs. The chorus again is typical Dream Theater with some slow, fast passages, and it's good, but it's not one of the standout tracks for me. Sleeping Giant, however, is now this is 10 minutes long, and it starts with a fairly kind of creepy, spooky keyboard intro, and then moves into a solo guitar riff, which is just pure granite. It's real heavy, great guitar riff, all on its own. And then we have this glorious Hammond organ type keyboards starts to lift up behind it. And this reminds me of Steve Morse period Deep Purple. So obviously that's going to get quite a few points from me. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it soon heads off into a typical Dream Theater gallop with some really metallic riffage going on alongside it. It's got a great chorus and melody. There's lots of twists and turns, and it is one of my favourite tracks on the album so far into this. Next up is a song called Transcending Time, which is again 6.5 minutes. Another mid-paced kind of prog metal track. This one's got sprinklings of Rush and Yes. Now we know that they're all fans of both of those bands. Now, whether this was intentional or it's something that has just happened as they played together for so many years, the production again is really clear, and you can really pick out the detail, what's going on with all the instruments. And there's a wonderful circular riff in this, great vocals, absolutely fantastic vocals. And I think the vocals on this album are some of the best, that they've done. The solo piano section sounds very much like Rick Wakeman, which reinforces the Yes influence to me. And great track. Next, we're heading off towards the 10-minute mark with Awaken the Master. This starts with some very heavy riffage and real metal, but also complicated with intense jazz rock fusion elements as well. The whole of the kitchen sink's coming at you here. But again, as I said before, the space between the instruments and the music has a real chance to breathe. It's real pure prog metal. This is an example of why that Dream Theater are still sitting at the top of this genre, with no one really able to touch them. And this is a really strong album. There's those double bass drum beats you can imagine, and again those, when they go around the tom-toms and the guitarists come in, it has it all. It has it all. And live, you can just imagine that this track will be stunning. And I imagine they'll do the whole album live as well. The song spins off in several different directions, as I put here in my notes, before coming back to loads of metal riffs, again more great keyboards and breathtaking guitar solo. The notes are just flying at you. You literally have to duck from in front of your speakers, otherwise they hit you straight between the eyes. And then we come to the epic. Every Dream Theater album has a 20-minute, sometimes longer, epic track, and this one is it. And it's the title track, A View from the Top of the World. It opens like the music from a sci-fi summer blockbuster. It has everything in it, and huge orchestral keyboards, stop-start drums again, and detuned, menacing guitar, metal riffage as you'd expect, and those Dream Theater melodies that we all love. The song is jam-packed with dramatic time changes and offbeats. There's some mind-boggling, almost mathematical instrumental passages where to me, it just brought a smile to my face. This isn't music to have on in the background. This is music to me. I was on the edge of the sofa, thinking, where's it going to go next? What are they going to do next? And although you might think, Dream Theater can do this stuff in their sleep, maybe they can, but it doesn't sound like they've done this in their sleep. It sounds like it's vital, it's exciting, it's 2021, and it's Dream Theater having an absolute ball pulling this together. Absolutely fantastic. And again, this is another one of those songs which has this drops down. There's a second part, goes into something called Rapture of the Deep, another Deep Purple reference, and it's again another great groove where they kind of gently solo amongst themselves. There's some We talked about the guitar solos being absolutely like intense, but there's some really strong, fluid, emotive guitar playing with absolute feeling in as well. And I feel it's absolutely. In fact, this is my favourite song off the whole album. And I put here on my notes that it's pure Dream Theater. I mean, if you're a Dream Theater fan, you're going to be well chuffed with this. If you're coming in this from the first time after hearing for decades about this band called Dream Theater, and should you give them a listen, where should you start? I mean, so many people always say, oh, start at the beginning, work your way through. You can start here. I feel confident in saying that. I think if you've got yourself into, progressive metal, where you want to know what the fuss is all about, you can start here. I think this is a really good place to start, and it's a joyous album, and I really, really like it. And I think, the lineup has been the same for a long time, but John Petrucci's guitar playing and Jordan Rudess' keyboards is just fantastic. And of course, the James LeBry's vocals. It's a great album. So let's have a quick shufty inside, and so you can see what the package is that I actually bought. So Dream Theater, View from the Top of the World. I went for the vinyl version because it also comes with the CD, and that's generally one of the triggers that makes me do that. So the CD is exactly the same one as you bought the CD version, but you also get the actual vinyl album as well. The records are in black protective covers, and each side is a slightly different colour on the emblem, the branding they've used for the album. I'm just going to move that out of the way. The other one is basically the same, but you also get this booklet. If some of you have bought the CD version, you can tell me if this is exactly the same booklet that you get in the CD. I imagine it probably is, but obviously getting it final size means that it's just feels more luxurious. A picture of the band, creepy looking spider, typical Dream Theater fantasy art, then all the lyrics, which obviously for anyone who's visually challenged like me, it's easy to read, and then some fine portraits of the guys, and then the credits. But it's it's a great package. 2 LPs and nice booklet, and you get the CD. So that's A View from the Top of the World, the latest Dream Theater album. So that's the one I bought, which is the 2 album with booklet CD package, and I'm absolutely thrilled with it. I played it, several times, and my wife Sue said, "Is that the new Dream Theater album?" Yes, it's that identifiable, but it's really, really good. I think I read a review, someone said, oh, they've got all these tools in their toolbox, do they really need to use them all? Why not? And they've used them and created a brand new recipe, as far as I'm concerned. There's enough changes and enough newness in here to keep me playing this for a long time. So that's highly recommended. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for becoming patrons. Thank you for ringing that bell and spreading the word about the Now Spinning YouTube channel and website and wherever else we are as well. I really, really appreciate it, and I shall see you on my next video.